Hello, this is Bridget Mouth with Divine Essentials. Okay, guys, so I'm doing another reading. This is a reading that is booked for somebody particular and then published publicly but anonymously, so that person gets their messages, and then anybody else who may be dealing with similar questions can also receive answers, because I feel like when I go live, a lot of the times people come there, it's like I get the same question or I get the same cards for every person that comes, because when you go to a reader and you resonate with that reader and you subscribe to that channel, or you like that person's messages, it's usually something that, like, other people do, and then there's like multiple people within one collective that are all receiving similarly. You know what I mean? It's like you may have your own situations happening. They may not be exactly the same type of situations happening, but there's a lot of like similarities within the collectives, and then there's a lot of like similar perspectives or things that feel correct for messaging towards people. And it can even go across like things of what person's dealing with, like, oh, when I give you these messages about love, other people may take it and apply what I'm saying in another situation that's like not romantic. It may be family, it may be work, it may be something specific, and it's just however that person or people need to be receiving those messages. So it's like it feels like, it just goes across, and it's like that thing, it's like synchronicity, right? It's like we see these similarities popping up a lot of times, and we're usually drawn to these places for a reason. Like tonight, I just had some weird ass thing happen to me, and I was like, like I saw a thing of the Anunnaki gods, right? And how like all the depictions of this person from history, some of them he has a bird face, some of them he has like a dragon face, some of them he has a human face, but in all of them he's holding a fucking pine cone thing and a bag thing, and he's got a leg thing, okay? And it was like all of, in every single one he's in the same position but with a different face, and then the leg thing I noticed, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And so then I went and I looked up and I started like reading about Enki and Enlil and all of them, and it like led me into this other place, which happens, okay? And then I finally just stumbled upon this place called, I don't even know what the hell, like what they were doing, but it was in March 24th is when they do this thing, right? And these beings that were supposedly created out of the freaking dirt under the fingernails of the gods. They're sexless gods, okay? And in my head, I first thought of like the Greys, okay? Because the Greys, they don't have reproductive things, okay? But then when I went and looked further into it, it like ties into Dionysus, who's like the god of orgies and freak show type stuff going on, getting drunk, partying all night, and then people castrating each other and like cutting their things off, okay? So it's getting like tied into the transgender stuff, right? And then people flogging each other to the point where they're bleeding and shit. It's like, what? In March 24th? Seems so weird that's like, because like we've been having so much shit coming up about like the transgender people, and like kids being pushed into removing those body parts that are pretty significant body parts that determine your future of your family and yourself and just like humanity as a whole. And it's like, what the fuck? What are they doing back then? Like, just like it was like a cult. It was like a cult of people that got all messed up. They weren't having sex because they didn't have any way to do it. And I'm like, it's not like a sustainable religion. It's not going to carry on too far unless it's just based on going out and like finding other people to like convert into your system of that. But I don't know. I was like, but you find that in cults anyway, because they're like the cult. There's cults that like everybody's like, they come on in, they get all like acquainted, and then they all die. They're like, okay, we're gonna kill each other, or we're gonna die, or we're gonna kill ourselves, we're gonna drink the Kool-Aid and die. I don't know why, but it seems like a common thing, and I don't understand. what the hell is happening out there? Like, why? What is the purpose of getting like extremely fucked up and cutting people's stuff off? I don't know. I feel like think outside the flock. If you're around a bunch of people and they're like, hey, tonight we're gonna get fucked up and we're gonna cut each other's shit off as part of the party, it's okay to say no. It's okay to enter the silence and stay home that night and not do that. It's okay if you want to have a divine union with somebody and use your body parts. Part of it. I don't understand. Yeah, gratitude, honor the sacred in everything, in every creation. Yeah, well, you know what? It could be sacred to some people to do that, but I'm gonna be different about my approach to life. I'm gonna choose a natural path where I don't have to take body parts off or add them or kill people. You know, you can just shapeshift. You know, like if you really, you don't have to physically do it. You can just like take the essence of it. I don't know. Stuff's crazy. Stuff is crazy. But it was just so weird to see that stuff popping up and how I even got there. It's like sometimes I just feel like a psycho, right? And then my phone, like, I went to take a screenshot because I was going to send some of the stuff that I saw to somebody, and then my phone was like, nope. Like, because like sometimes when I try to do the screenshot, it turns it black. And so when I turned it back from black, it was 333 with like a 27 on there and stuff. So I was like, all right, they're telling me to get out of here because I had done enough exploring. It was like, yeah, be calm, anchor your energy, anchor the Celtic Ray. And yeah, so I was like, I gotta go do that reading. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So first off, let's, you know, anybody that's out there that's gonna watch this, let's anchor our energy. Let's not let's protect our bodies. I talked about mermaids earlier today too. You know, the mermaids and the people, right? Like, I saw something to do with the planets, right? So the planet has their glyph, and their different glyphs connect to different things. That was another thing I just noticed, that Andromeda and Cygnus, they tie together. Because I've been seeing a lot of Andromedan stuff. I've been seeing a lot of unicorns. I've been seeing a lot of Pegasus. And that's literally a thing next to Cygnus, and Cygnus is tied into St. Bridget, and St. Bridget's got some shit that she does with that, and like Kildare, the place that she built her school, and all of that stuff. Like, there's literally a pond on the ground that's in the shape of Cygnus, and like her whole pilgrimage, or her whole life, is in the shape of Cygnus, the swan constellation up there. Everything that's down here, everything that we have going on, everybody, everywhere, from the beginning of time, and through all the religions and all the histories and all the places, it's like just the same old shit playing out in a different place, and it's like they're just talking about the same thing happening, but different people being the one, you know, who are doing it or where they're doing it, and it's like you start to see it so easily once you understand, like the 12 planets. You know, the basics of astrology and what they represent and all of that, and like Lilith, the Black Moon Lilith is the first woman that they were like, we're gonna get rid of her. So Queen Elizabeth Lilith, right? She was tied to that, and she was also talked about being a shape-shifting reptilian person. And it's like, oh, because when you go look at the Sumerian people, right, that you had wings, you know, bird face, which is like a dragon face, and I've always said that the birds are like dragons or reptiles anyways, because like I had a bird and she was kind of like a little tiny, like she was like a T-Rex. She was like, ah! She was really loud, really scary, and she was tiny. So you imagine that, like super size. Oh god, scary. But it's like, those are the people that are supposedly, you know, is responsible for coming here. And when you look at the further out planets and the closer planets, it's like we're getting better at our creation. So there's like the dragons and the crazy things and the mystical, magical Pegasus and stuff, right? Further away. But that glyph of the watery one, the one for psychic, it looks like it's you know, the Triton, like a King Triton, right? I just saw a thing written about the Enki and Enlil, and how the dude, right, he was like, oh yeah, he gave a pitchfork that was gold, and it had lapis lazuli like, you know, emblems and shit. And I'm like, that is definitely not a pitchfork. Nobody would use that for a pitchfork. Ever. I don't care how rich you are. You're not gonna make a gold, lapis lazuli encrusted pitchfork to go fucking do some gardening with. Like, no, that was most likely a Triton. And now I understand why my little brain, when I saw the Triton in my dream as a kid, was dumb enough to be like, oh, it's a pitchfork. Because I was tying it to Green Acres. It's the only thing I had to, like, compare it with. But, like, we're talking about full-grown adults looking at shit and being like, yeah, he gave us humanity a pitchfork that was like that. I really need to go look at all of the history that we have written down in the interpretations, because the shit that I was seeing tonight, and like one of the things, so like the Moon key, right? Moon means love, key means energy. I think we can all kind of agree that chi key is an energy thing, right? They had that down as like something totally different, as like Enki, right? Enki was the god of like something dumb. And I'm like, now he's the god of energy, and the other one's a god of water, and the other one's a god of air, and like the other one was a god of spirit, okay? But they had him down as like the god of something dumb that did not make sense, and it was key was being translated to, so I'm like, oh my god, no. Like, it doesn't make sense. And they even said it in it. It was like, there's been some, you know, debate about that. I'm like, I wonder why. It's like, that just doesn't make any goddamn sense. But now that, like, I'm seeing these things that are all, like, coinciding with the time even, and, like, what's going on in the planet and the people, and the repeat. I don't know. I feel like we could figure it out if we just used our brains, cleared away those obstacles that we have in there of, like, stupid people saying something and everyone else being like, yeah, gotta stop doing that, because that's what's problem is. It's like you get people coming in here saying some dumb shit that everybody can see is not clearly good and is like just a bad idea or not something anybody should really be doing or thinking, and everybody else is like, sure, because they don't want to offend anybody or like cause any problems. It's like, dude, sometimes people need clarity. You need to fucking wake them the hell up and tell the truth, so that we don't destroy all of humanity by believing some bullshit that's like, duh. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an asshole. But, this person, just went through a separation with a karmic person, and they're wondering, like, where they're headed. Like, where do I go from here, you know? And, I feel, like, other people probably can resonate with that. Like, there's been a lot of ending of karmic contracts. There's been people figuring out, like, oh shit, I was barking up the wrong tree, or, you know, like, I was stuck somewhere where I needed my strength, and just split this deck open, and there it is again, the strength to see. Sometimes we gotta put a death to things that are not right, and become that queen of swords, and be like, I'm gonna cut away, make a judgment call, so that I don't, like, go do some real crazy shit in the name of God, or the name of whatever belief. Like, let me cut myself up. I'm gonna trust that God's gonna catch me. Like, no, you should trust that you're gonna die. Like, it's just common sense. You know? And if something's pushing us to not do what we feel good within, or we feel sad and, like, rejected, you know, like somebody's treating us like an option, or somebody's treating us poorly, or we're always alone and miserable and sad and everything's falling down and we're losing the game of life, we gotta be like, no, I'm going to fight for my right to party. I'm going to fight for my right to be happy. I'm going to fight for my right to end that motherfucking shit show, like, situation, get a little creative in my endeavors, and start over in a positive, uplifting way, with an emperor who's actually in a divine masculine energy, a majestic authority, self-esteem, with pride and ego, and fair and just, devoted, heart-centered person. We all have ego. You're never going to not have an ego. We're all going to feel sad and bad when people do bad things to us, or make us feel insignificant, or make us feel like we aren't pretty or smart or whatever, right? Doesn't really matter what it is. It's just our ego is going to be wounded. So we don't want somebody out there that's like fully, like, all the time seeking ways to hurt us or cause us anxiety, or the way that they behave just causes a bunch of this, right? We don't want that. That's not fun. Nobody wants that. We want to plant the seeds of potential for the illuminated, balanced give and take that happens when lovers choose lovers. When people hold on to like what's important within emotional support and love, and being open and valuing somebody. Because when you value her, she will treat you like a king, and she's going to nurture you and care for you, and be the person that's like, oh, it's such a good little union there, because like, you know, I lift you up with the strength, and you lift me up with the strength. We honor each other, we love each other, we care about each other, and we don't leave each other out in the fairs and the scares and the, oh, I don't know, let me go do some exploring and cheating and lying and stealing and fucking around, and then try to pretend that I'm coming from a heart-centered, fair and just place, you know. So a lot of us have been making that judgment call to recognize that the people who are guarded and greedy and mean and cold and aren't opening up or never getting better within that, they're just juggling you. Like every time they're like, ah, like if like even the fact that somebody could about you is not a, it's not a good choice for us. It's like, okay, if you can go around, I don't know about me, then I'm gonna, I don't know about you. But a lot of people weren't doing that before because they were, you know, letting other people be in the power seat, or letting other people feel or make them just feel a certain way. Like and I think a lot of the women healed came into their Empress energy and realized like, hey, I can take a judgment call here too. Fuck you. Like, I'm gonna move away from here to go into places that are better suited, where I'm gonna have that equal give and take, divine masculine energy, the Son of God, which is the sun. Yeah, the sun god. Rah. I'm gonna get rah, and I've become independent, confident, sexy, and I'm gonna charge forward into my new beginning that's gonna be valuable and lead me to my floor of one. So I feel like all of us are kind of like in our own ways and in our own places and in our own evolutions doing that to some degree, all of our life. You know, it's like there's gonna be chaos, there's gonna be conflict, there's gonna be stuff that we're gonna have to rise up through and overcome, become that empress through the evolution. And when we honor ourselves and we're grounded in ourselves and we love ourselves and we're treating ourselves in the right way, others are going to show up with a valuable offer, something that is worth being around and taking time to connect to, that isn't going to be like, all this anxiety, like, where's that, oh my god, why did they ghost, or why aren't they responding, or are they gonna do that shit? Because when you go through that shit with somebody or multiple people, or just in your life at all, when people juggle your value and worth, it makes you question your value and worth, and it makes you become anxious about how people are going to treat you. You get almost expectant of being treated like shit, and that requires a lot of strength to realize, like, okay, like, not everybody out there is going to do it, first of all. Second of all, I don't have to allow them to do it when they start to do it, and I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm going to have healthy boundaries and self-respect, and I'm going to trust and know that, like, somewhere out there is my Two of Cups. Somewhere out there is the person that is going to value me. They're going to see me and be like, wow, that's my empress. I want to make her happy. I want to do good things. I want to be nice to her. I'm not going to be like all secretive and hiding my feelings and pretending whatever and shape-shifting away, doing foolish ass shit that leaves that person feeling like this. Because if I love them, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't do that to them. I would not hold myself in this position away from them and hurting them if I loved them. So yeah, we have egos. Yeah, we're going to act on our egos and our fears and our doubts. But ultimately, if it's a spiritual love or a deep love, or somebody that has like a value within themselves or a value on you, they're going to rise up out of that place to meet us there. So I feel like you've already learned that lesson. You know, you've taken that next level commitment to yourself, and you're like, okay, this is not working out for me anymore. Intuitively, I know that. Intuitively, I need to take myself to the next level and embody the balance here. You know, it's like, this is the high priest and high priestess. This is like the higher selves of our soul, of ourselves. Like, we get the I am presence of us, right? That's like our soul self. It's like our spirit. And down here we have like our dualistic stuff, and we have our physical body, we have our masculine and feminine energies, but we also usually have like a masculine and feminine counterpart or connection in our life where we can have the give and take. But in order for us to have a healthy one, or a good one, or a high divine aligned vibey one that's not going to be full of illusion and bullshit and like sacrifice and a bunch of shit that does not feel good. We gotta go through a spiritual awakening and see from a new perspective and be like, okay, if I want others to value me, I need to value myself. If I want to feel that nostalgia, that love, and that compassion, and that goodness that, like, we all have within us from being a child on the planet before we were corrupted into evil doers, which is there again. We all have that capacity and that deep knowing and that wisdom inside of us to acquire the deep love. We don't have to let the ego run the show to the point where we block ourselves away from everything and everybody all the time and always just be scared to love or sacrifice ourselves or to self-sabotage ourselves or to be sabotaged within the doings of others. It's like, all right, eventually, like, you've got one strike, two strike, bye. Like, I'm not going to keep waiting for somebody that just keeps bringing me defeat or conflict or can't make up their mind, because it shouldn't even be a question when it's a 2 of cup, 10 of cup type of situation. Like, that's my ultimate fulfillment, my emotional happy. What are you fucking debating on, or why aren't you bringing value if that's how you feel about it, So the fact that you're moving away from that, I feel like you're just going to keep going through an evolution. You went through the painful ending. Now will be the time to rise into that energy of a sexy, magnetic, charismatic person that knows their value and worth and isn't going to settle for a Knight of Wands type of person, isn't going to settle for anything other than something of value that's tangible and, like, doesn't ever leave you hanging feeling like, oh, about yourself. So the stronger you become, the stronger you will attract. And the more abundant you feel, the more abundant you can become. So if you've been feeling left out in the cold or sad about the situation that didn't end well, just know that it's taking you to better places. You had to go through that painful ending to clear up the fucking shit. Obstacles are being removed from your path. So it's like, sometimes it's not a fun time to go through that. It's like, oh, like my marriage failed. It's like, whatever. Like, that's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. It's not, that's not your fault. It's not a reflection of you. It's like, you tried to make it work, and you tried to love somebody that probably didn't love themselves. So be open to a communication from an unexpected place. The High Priestess from the land of Ariani. So basically, just be open to whatever. See what comes in now that these obstacles are removing through the fact that you're loving yourself. And people are going to notice. They're going to see that Queen of Wands because she's sexy and magnetic and charismatic. She's, like a magnet to passion and drive. And you can be sure that when you put yourself out into the world, that you demand truth and integrity from those that do present to you. So you end up with an emperor, not, these other things out there that can come in. And I feel like there will be love, too, that is kindled into your life, a passionate new start that evolves into unconditional love, or just the love of a lifetime. Or maybe you already have something rekindling or resparking that will bloom out of the fact that you've removed obstacles and are moving forward in your life, and you're no longer holding back, and you're no longer settling or waiting for something to change or waiting for others to meet you there. It's like, who, like, we can only give people so many chances or deal with something so many times before we realize, like, okay, that person is never going to give to me. Or, like, these type of people or these type of circumstances, these situations over here are never going to lead me to be happy. So I got to choose me, moving on, in order to choose the right lover. And the more that I choose to love myself, the easier it will be to come out of the fears and the doubts and the insecurities and the what ifs and the should haves and the could haves and all of that, and just come into a time where we remove the fear, because the fear is what causes us to have the cataclysmic, like, oh, everything fell apart, and we start taking action and communicating and traveling in a new distance and a new way of doing our choice making. It's like, okay, no, we like have like a brain about it. We're like, I don't really want to go down there. I know where that leads. So we don't go do the stupid shit. And we can then reconcile with that inner child part of us that is not afraid to love or is not afraid of being hurt, because we know, like, we have enough wisdom at that time to know, like, okay, when we were vulnerable and naive, we didn't know these things that we know now. So that safe part of us that was like, got taken advantage of because it was da-doop-a-doop. But now that we know better, we can open ourselves back up to exploring and loving and being in that childlike energy, but with the wisdom and the understanding of those red flags that are indicators of, I don't really want to go down that road with that burden and that bullshit that's probably going to result 2 + 2 = 4, you know. So it's like, just have the healthy boundaries and the understanding of, when I made those decisions before, where they led, so that you can make new decisions now, but rekindle and respark the part of you that was like open to love, and the part of you that was like, you know, knows that it exists out there, that magic is real, available to us, and that we can have new beginnings that go into good places, and we can have, you know, commitments that are otherworldly or higher level, that we don't even have to go to like a marriage and all of that bullshit that we do down here and putting paperwork on it. It's like, it's just paper, man. It's just a piece of paper. Let's not place so much emphasis on pieces of paper, because sometimes people get pieces of paper and they do it in corrupt ways, or they use them in bad ways, or everybody places all the emphasis on the fucking paper, and it's like they don't, you know, they don't have the life skill or the physical skill, but they have the brain skill. It's like, whatever, you can pass a test, flying colors, but being put in under the test of like real life may not go so well for everybody. So, you know, we want to take it to account. Yeah, paper is great, and you know, giving us our like recognition of the hard work that we've done and the time and the effort we put in and all of that, and like it can signify things to protect us. But ultimately, the best way of protecting ourselves, and ultimately the best way of like judging, who do I want in my corner, or what doctor would I like to be there in case of an emergency and stuff, is how we see people navigate their day to day, how they show up to the show when there's a victim situation happening, or when there's temptation going on. Are they the type of person that's easily going to go be scandalous and cheat, or are they the person that's going to, you know, be real and true? So there's fulfilling opportunities on the horizon that are coming. There's been power struggles and unpredictable wild forces, like elusive, fierce energy, and I feel like you've been assertive and determined to not allow that to take away from you anymore. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna look deeper into the boo-boos, you know, like finding those loopholes, because there's always a fucking loophole, even when we get those paperworks. It's like, there could be an important detail or something that you're gonna figure out that's gonna also help you to have those fulfilling horizons, to remove any other power that's not your own, like innate good power from within, or any of that energy of feeling cursed and sad and bad about, oh my god, and blah 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 blah, the stuff that we can do to ourselves when things don't go well in our lives, so they seem to keep happening in a bad way. So try not to hold on to any of those negative thoughts of like, oh, this is my fault, or I'm so bad, or blah blah blah, of course this is happening. Don't affirm things like that, because it doesn't have to be the way that it is. There could be a fulfilling thing on the horizon. There could be an amazing outcome and good things happening, but our subconscious mind is a little douchebag and likes to mess with us. So work on that. You know, if you keep finding that like bad stuff is occurring, or you keep finding that it's like, every time I think this, something else happens, and it's like, ooh, it's probably in your head. It's like some sort of belief that's just like a sabotager of your goodness, or of your experience here. It's like, sometimes we just keep messing up, like we keep having these stalemates or these standoff, holding out, delay tactics, and blocked or refusing to compromise, and it's like, it's just the subconscious sometimes like making us feel like, oh, there's going to be a battle, there's going to be a big obstacle, there's going to be some major thing that I got to go through or get to the other side of, and we can just trust and know that we're good, and that the bridge is going to exist there, and that we can cross it whenever we need to. And like start like a visualization every day of like, when we wake up, of like, how am I gonna, you know, like see myself succeeding. I am abundant, I am fulfilling myself, I'm finding the right opportunities, the right experiences, the right people, I'm being calm, and I'm anchoring my energy, which reminds me, you know, we need to do that. Okay, so a sacred gift is coming to you, and I feel like you're going through like a death of the old and a death of the energies, right? So earlier when I was in the shower, I did call on Archangel Michael, and I was like, ba-doo, 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 through the whole spiel. But it's something that people should do every day. And while I was in there, I just closed my eyes, and it's like, if you close your eyes and you breathe, and just imagine like all of the energy around you just know that you have an aura, you have like a big egg of energy that is around you, and it's always moving, it's always changing, it's always shifting, and it's always like being influenced by us. And everything is energy, even your atoms. That is what is the makeup of all of this existence that we're within, is 99.99999% energy. So it's like, where's the mass, man? Why does everything seem physical? Because that's an illusion. And the fact that that's the reality that's around us is very easily influenced by us and our thoughts and our mind. That's why, like, when I do shit, I see, like, oh, it's all the synchronicities leading me into more synchronicity. And I follow those things into each other because there's a reason for it. There's a method to the madness. There's something here that is a greater power or a greater designer. It's almost like we're in a simulation of some creation, but it's our own creation too. So when you take a shower, or you just take 10 minutes out every day to kind of just come back into the moment, into your physical body, even just putting your hands to prayer position is like one of those mudras. It's one of those actions that people can do, or putting our hands over our heart, or even just like naturally feeling what's going on around us. Like sometimes there's energy. If we have like chaotic thoughts, or we have a lot of like doubts, or we have a lot of shit going on in our head, we can infuse the shower head before we even get into be like a Reiki shower. So like when we imagine that we're infusing that shower head, that it's going to be like pouring cleansing healing water all over us. So when we do that, we get in and we become aware of the top of our head and our crown, and that place that receives all of the wisdom and all of the information. If there's any cords, any attachments, any energies, Archangel Michael, we ask to cut, clear, cleanse them. And we can literally feel the energy around us. You can feel if there's anything up there that's like kind of just like in the way, or it could even seem like a different color or a scent or whatever. Everybody interprets things differently. And then we have our third eye, which is like our ability to perceive and our ability to trust what we know, or to put the things together, or to have the aha moments or the synchronistic moments. And any cords of attachment, any energies, any entities, any frequencies or low vibrations. Archangel Michael, we ask to cut, clear, cleanse, release any attachments. And then at the throat, it's our place of truth and communication. It's our place of our expression. It's our truth, our authenticity. It is our voice. It's the imprint that we carry with our energetic, like, essence of how we communicate. So any cords, any attachments, any fears, any doubts, any insecurities, any blockages, anything that is not allowing us to speak our fullness or our truth. Archangel Michael, we cut the cords, we clear any attachments, and we do not allow anybody to stifle us or our voice or our creation. And our heart, any place, any energy, any fears, any doubts, anything, any resentment, any pain, any grief, any hate, anything like that we have inside of us that we need to forgive or forget, or any jealousy, or any hatred or pain or darkness or fear or insecure, like blah blah blah, I'm no good, blah 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 blah, or whatever we feel like is not supporting us, or we feel like we're not supported, or we feel like we're not worthy, whatever it is. We ask Archangel Michael to come cut the cords, to clear the cords and the attachments and the energies and the essences, the demons of our past, our present, our future. And then our place of our power, our confidence, our strength, our ability to stand in our power and our truth. Any cords, any attachments, anybody that's been draining us or taking from us, doesn't like us to stand in our power, anybody that wants us to feel like we are not good enough or that we can't be confident. We cut, clear, cleanse, detach. We break free of the limitations, cutting those cords from those attachments and those energies and entities and frequencies. And in our sacral, our reproductive, our relationship area, where we give birth to life, if you're the divine feminine, this is your womb, this is your place of creation, this is where you give birth to things. We cut, clear, cleanse, and remove any cords, any attachments, any energies, any entities, any low vibrations or frequencies. And we can even, go around the back of us too. If we have like any problems in our stomach, any problems in our back, any problems in our shoulders, in our anywhere that we have problems, we can be like, hey, blah, 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 whatever the hell it is, wherever it is, it's a shoulder, if it's whatever. And then the bottom is the root, it's our foundation, it's our basic needs, our survival instincts, it's like our connection to this material, physical world, money, our drive, our instincts, our sexual egos, it's like the basis of all the stuff. So if there's anything in there, it's going to mess up the rest. So we want to cut the cords of attachment, any low vibrations, any entities or energies, any darkness, anything that's been directed at us or taken from us or tried to, anybody that is, harmful towards us, or anybody we're harmful towards, or even when we're harmful towards ourselves, through our doubt, through our fear, through our insecurities, through our beliefs of believing that we're not worthy or we're not good enough, or that somebody is trying to hurt us. That opens up the doorway for us to hurt ourselves. We cut, clear, cleanse, release all the cords, all the energies, all the attachments, and anything that is blocking us from moving forward on our path, anybody that has been in our way energetically, or anything that we've been believing or doing or perceiving or feeling that has been keeping us from moving forward on the path of life. We now ground this energy down into our feet and into our toes. Archangel Michael cutting any cords, any energies, any entities, any frequencies or beings that are not serving us, that are keeping us stuck from moving forward on the path into the enlightenment and into the alignment of our purpose and our passion and our truth. Anywhere inside of our aura that has been hurt or harmed, any holes, any places that have been impacted or imbalanced, we clear, cleanse, and release. And we ask for Archangel Raphael to come and to heal all of these spaces and places that have been severed or harmed, any of the places that have been left with a residue or cut by. We fill our aura, our energy, our bodies, our minds, our souls, and our essence up with the divine light and the truth and the awareness. We see ourselves going forward, being productive, being successful, being loved and accepted, being the best at what we do, being trusting and truthful of who we are, not afraid to do it, be it, create it, not being influenced by others' opinions of us, or what they feel we should do, or when we should do it, or how we should do it, and instead just doing as we would like to do. And that's how we're going to go the distance. That's how we're going to make our movement on autopilot. And like, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere. So where you're going is where you believe you're going to go. And networking and putting yourself out there and creating and expanding your exposure into the spotlight is also going to help. And you're having a rebirth, an awakening. You're the phoenix rising through the ashes, and you are going to connect to one, the person that's the perfect pair to being your faithful, deep, loving soul connection, because you are illuminated. You have the magnetic, seductive quality here, the je ne sais quoi. You get the soul spark, like an exceptional, magical attraction, seduction, a yearning will be felt by those around you, and you're going to have the light bulb moments, the ahas, when you take that time out every day to give yourself that memory or that wisdom and that acknowledgement, that intelligence of, let me check myself in here, let me get a little creative, like my little inner child self that believed in magic and that knew these concepts and created magically through dreaming it into being, through taking those times out, through doing that energetic stuff, like NLP, neuro-linguistic stuff, right? It's literally like pretending this and pretending that it has a physical effect on us. Like, and then when we have like neuroscientists, right? We have little trees in our brain, and every time we do something or think something or take an action in some way, those things can be created or destroyed, and we want to keep creating them in a way that's positive, and we want to be trusting in the divine, because the divine is all part of this. It's a sacred, white, pure, blissed out essence of things. When we are pure, blessed out essence of ourselves, and we ground ourselves and we trust ourselves, we grow those little trees within us, and we stop allowing the outside things to become detrimental or the inside things to become detrimental, because really everything outside of us comes from within us. And when we evolve and we have the metamorphosis and we take the responsibility of that, of like, oh yeah, this is my fault, we can then move much further ahead and realizing and recognizing that every fucking thing I attract, everything that I hate, everything that I don't enjoy, is literally me doing it to myself. So when I get grounded and fertile within my lineage and my health and my vitality and my roots and my personal growth, my past lives and my evolution that comes about from doing that understanding and the deep dive in there, and taming those wild parts of me, or those fearful parts of me, or those doubtful parts of me, or those victim parts of me, and just realizing that it's like, yeah, maybe people did shitty shit, maybe stuff like that was bad, and it's not all your fault per se. It's like, but it is like, it is you that does what you do and puts up with what you put up and gets yourself into the positions that you get yourself into. And that may be because we're not very supportive. We're not like the best friend of ourselves. We're usually much better at telling other people, hey, that's not a good thing, that person's a shitty shyster, but we don't tell ourselves that. Or even if we know that a person's a shitty shyster, we're like, that's okay. Like, I don't deserve a good, committed, soulful people that are like on the level that I'm giving, you know? We let other people take control and take power over us, but by doing that, we gave it to them to do it, you know, in the same breath. And it's up for debate among everybody, and I think it takes a level of understanding and just like experience that people go through where they eventually recognize, like, okay, like, hey, you know, I kind of knew this was probably going to be an issue because it was an issue so many times before. You know, like if somebody does something that's wrong and then I'm like, oh yeah, sure, it's okay. I forgive you every time. I can't be surprised when I end up alone or standing out again, once again, in a position where they may have done something to leave me feeling estranged or lonely and upset by what they've done, because they've already done it before and they already showed me who they were, and I just kept giving them way too many chances because I was, you know, unconditionally loving and being a good person, I thought, inside. But really, we weren't loving ourselves enough at those times in our lives. So we kept getting hurt, or we kept going back, or we kept accepting somebody's, you know, shitty ass apologies. But as we get more mature, and as we have that aging and that process and the understanding, and we, you know, see clearly the sun, yes, it's like, oh, okay. Now I can have a collaborative, beautiful, harmonious experience with other people. I can have humor and fun and joy, and I can go to those crossroads in life and look back at the times where it was like, well, if I went down that road, it you know, it led me to my death, it led me to the bad, shitty shit, or it was another argument or another repetitive, shitty thing that sucked. You know, or I go down the ways that have taken me to my victory, that have taken me to my success and my yes and my yay. And usually there is clarity. There's usually sun there that's like, hey, over here, look over here, this is the way, this is the one, do. And we usually feel it and know it, but we're still like, I don't know. But I think now you're going to see through those illusions. Now you've had that wisdom. Now you know better about, you know, being tricked or you know, the benefit of the doubt. Because there's snakes in this world, you know, and sometimes it's like, oh, okay, we can hopefully, you know, we don't want it to be that case all the time, but sometimes it is. And if we don't acknowledge it in the start, we can't get upset when the fall happens of the tower, because it's gonna happen eventually. Shit's gonna fucking hit the sand. But even in those cases when it does, if we were not going in it in like a way of like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna mess everything up. We just did it out of the hope of maybe possibly they won't be mad at me. Hopefully maybe they've learned their lesson. Well, maybe I'm gonna be carefree and enjoy my time, and I hope justice will be served. Because in those times that you did nothing wrong except for just like hope for the best and trying to love somebody that was not doing the same thing back, justice will be served. You know, there will be a reckoning. The people who have hurt people, the people who do shitty shit, people who lie and shit, steal and cheat and do all that shit, or get all consumed with being the head of the pack and the first to the top, or like let money consume them or run their shit shows, they will learn their lessons eventually. You may not be there when it happens, but they probably will have the reckoning, or they will see your blessings. And it's usually because of the removal of the people that were keeping you from them. That's like, oh shit, I just had to get rid of that fucking obstacle. Ganesh is the elephant, right? He's the one about removing obstacles. So we can rise like the phoenix through the ashes and stop being up in the storm and the craziness and the shit show where we stand alone and by ourselves because of all these assholes that lied and deceived. And you know, it's like an addiction too, because people get addicted to the highs and the lows that happen within these relationships. Sometimes people don't really care about certain parts anymore. It's like, I'm just unhappily married, but I don't want anybody else to have you. So it's almost like they get stuck there by like their basic instincts of like, I'm jealous, you know. When we overcome that and we separate ourselves from it, we meet new people and we don't stay in that vibration or in those places of, you know, oh, I'm married, I have to stay married forever. It's a sin to divorce somebody that's a horrible person. When we don't let that shit go on, or we evolve out of that, we get, you know, creative, become resourceful, and we ask the questions and adapt to our situations, and we become clever so we can get the fuck out of there. A new lover will be presented, somebody that you can choose to adapt with, that's going to be divine and aligned, and it's like, yes, prideful, radiant, successful, divine masculine energy. So you can have that easygoing, so what, luck of a experience, prosperity, don't worry, moving on, birth of a son. So yeah, you're moving on to a lucky time, a better day, moving ahead, and you also feel that there's something going on with possible having lupus, and you think that it's probably from the thing that they forced upon people, and the job that you had as a nurse. You're like, is it time to move on from that? Because, you know, the possibility of being sick from that job, and just probably, you know, all of these things. So basically what I think is happening is like I said, we all have an ego built in, and we all have a disguise that we wear. We put our masks on at different times, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the way that we fucking live. Like, sometimes you need to wear a mask so you don't die, right? If somebody comes in and they're like, everybody freeze, I'm gonna kill you, you may be nice to that person that's holding the gun, but you don't really like them. You probably want to be nice to them, but you're gonna do it because you know, like, sure, here you go. Like, you're not gonna be like, fuck you, because you might die. So sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do to cross those bridges to get to the other side. And as long as we're not starting off as the asshole with the gun that's coming in to be like that, then usually we're not in the wrong about it. It's like there's levels to it, you know. It's like sometimes we have to do these things that we don't want to do in order to get through the lessons and to the other side of the shit show, to cross those bridges. But our thoughts can be problematic, and sometimes our thoughts can be, you know, the things that create some of this stuff, or allows the power to be placed into other places around us, or we even create like false illusions of like a rivalry, or just something that isn't really there. It's like it's there, but it's like our perception of it, the way we're looking at it, is sometimes what can create these things too. Of like, you know, I've had people be like, oh, I can't blah blah blah, and I've said it too in my life, like, I can't blah blah blah, they won't let me blah blah blah. But we all have free will. We all have those choices to make at the time that we want to make them. And there's all these facades and these egos and these illusions and these masks that are shown to us all over the place. And sometimes we're the creator of the mask that we put onto stuff around us. It's like, oh, I perceive it that way. Look at that thing, but it's really not that way. If we just took the mask off of it, we'd be like, oh my God, that's not really what there is right there. I could totally do something totally different, but I've been allowing it to be an obstacle, or I've been allowing it to be whatever. So becoming gentle and focused within our power, wise, supportive, telepathy, trusting our wit, and realizing that like everything around us is what it is by our creation of our decision, of our choice of what it is. You know, sometimes people look at the third parties that are involved in circumstances and they hate the third party. But it's like, does that third party know? Sometimes the third party doesn't even know the other person exists. Sometimes the third party is just another victim in the long list of people who, you know, maybe somebody's a hoarder. It's like, I need more people. And it's like, oh, you know, so, and a lot of times women will hate another woman because like a man or whatever, but it's like, again, sometimes that woman didn't even know. So how can you hate someone for something that they didn't even know that they were doing wrong? But it's a natural instinct that does happen. And it's like, sometimes women get really mad at that. It's like, pew. But it's okay, because it's like, if you didn't get mad, you wouldn't know that it was wrong. And you wouldn't know that, like, this is not the collaboration place for me. This is not where I want to be. And the same thing with the devil, right? So the devil shows up to show us shit that's like, this is not harmonious. This is not fun. I'm not having a playful good time here. I'm not enjoying my time here. So metamorphosis is what's necessary. It's a reinventing of your soul, an evolution of your soul, and an embracing of the change. And it's a time to be open to miracles. So I feel, basically, you took a pact, or you made an agreement. It is a circular like thing here with the job. and you decided to go there, and you were like, oh, and you held your end of the bargain, and you were committed to it, stable with it. You gave that higher level commitment to it. You're doing good things, being true to your passion and your purpose and what you said you would do. However, you dealt with the snake, you dealt with the serpent, you dealt with the bullshit liars that didn't hold their end of the bargain, and they forced things onto you, and shame on you, and guilt on you, and made you do things you didn't want to do, that's now made you feel sick, because it's not nice, right? It was an abusive situation that they did. A lot of people got this happening to them within the world, at different places that they worked and all of that. So now there's a death happening. Some people are literally dying, and some people are dying that version of themselves that was like committed to these other places that they're now realizing they didn't have their back the way that they had it. You know, it's like you sacrificed things, you did things that you didn't necessarily want to do for that place, and nobody else there was doing that for you, and now you're sick, and now you know, like now you've got problems based off of giving over and showing up for people who weren't showing up for you, or a place that wasn't really there for you. Something that was wrong was done, and it was done on a grand scale to a lot of people, and a lot of people are now feeling solo and singled out by it. But that was part of the design within all of it, was, you know, that conquer by divide, which we see among all people in all ways. It's like they're constantly trying to make us feel hateful about each other or about things that are different, rather than inclusive and accepting, and like, hey, and like making nice connections and building repertoires and responsibility and just being good people. You know. So releasing any sorrow, releasing anything that's connected to this, allowing your emotions to overflow, and allowing you to just like honor yourself and honor your truth about how you feel about the situation. Like, obviously it's time to move on. If you feel like, I'm moving out of this place with this karmic thing, and usually when we have one karmic thing or one situation in our life, it goes across the board into all of them in some way or one way or another. It's like, you know, it's like usually we don't have like just one bad seed. It's like there's usually a series of things, or a whole bunch of stuff happening on a different levels. It may not be like the most detrimental thing as ever, but when we start to awaken and heal, and we heal and we grow and we ascend, and we learn and we grow and ascend, and we heal and we do and we do, and we break out of the bonds and out of the things into the levels, and we go higher and higher. Eventually we're like, wait a minute, this situation isn't right either, because you're also being a shit show, or you're also not valuing me, you're also not really a supportive person in my life, or you're also not really allowing me to be that mama bear in my power, my situation, that I'm running the show in a way that's like good for me and healthy for me. It's like I've been giving my power away to all these different people, these men, and these places, and these experiences. But I don't. And attitude is everything. I can be cool, calm, and collected about it. I don't have to be psycho. I don't have to freak out. I don't have to like immediately change everything overnight. It's like some people get like about that, and some people let it ride to the point where it's like spirit steps in and just is like, poof, here you go. Like, you have no choice now because you didn't listen when you got the inklings. So, being one of the people that seems like you're listening, I feel like you know what to do. Start making those moves and those changes. Get quick match of putting your eye on the prize, like anchor into like, where do I want to go, like what do I want to do, like start figuring that out now, because it's like, you know, is it time to move on from here? Yeah, I feel like it is, but I think, you know, you don't have to run out the door. You have that thing of knowing, like, I would like to be the head of pack of my life. I want to be the one in control. I don't want to be in these elusive bullshit situations anymore. I'm determined to heal. I know I deserve better. I've spent my time thinking about all this stuff, and I see how it's all complicated and layered, and all these strings that attach, and all these like conditions, and all this stuff that gets put onto us, and these expectations of who we should be and how we should show up, and blah, 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 blah. And we get like by other people who don't agree with us all the time, only to fucking come out the other side sometimes like, hey, guess that wasn't such a good idea. But people never want to admit that. People get mad, or people, you know, hold on to their thing even when they're dead. Like, you know, other people who disagree, or they don't do that work, and they don't even like ever try to evolve or grow or see beyond the bullshit lies that we have out here. They're like, oh, I'm just blind to that. Like, I'm just gonna keep on showing up to this fucking craziness. when they do that, when they have that ego to that level, when they're not heart-centered, or they're not coming from like the place where it seems like you're coming from, where you are determined to be a better version of yourself, and you know, like that sometimes includes like not being committed to a fault of a place where it's like, I'm gonna end up hurting myself, or I'm gonna end up being, you know, like detrimental to the entirety of the world if I keep doing this. Sometimes it takes a lot of power for us to think outside of the thing, or for us to fight back against the many. But sometimes it's very necessary for us to do that, to get to the next level, to become magnetically charged, to get to that stepping stone, to find the right motherfucking people in our lives that are going to be harmonious and that aren't going to lead us to our death, or not going to like look at us as like a whatever. It's like sometimes we needed to go through these things in order for us to actually become the people that we needed to become, to get to the right place so we could make the right commitments as an empress, as a mature, you know, woman, or person that is able to see like where there is injustice, where there is imbalance, and to have that mental ability to recognize those things and to be mutable and to see the both sides of the things, and then become fixed in our positions and be like, all right, I'm gonna do something about this. I'm not gonna just sit here and keep letting this happen. I'm not gonna be like a persevering, having the willpower to my own defeat, my own downfall. Like it's time for me to expand. It's time for me to grow. It's time for me to have unconditional love, which starts with myself. So I'm gonna be cool, calm, collected, work on my emotions, releasing the stuff that made me sad and bad, and feeling all the sadness. And like, you know, anything that's lingering from the time of the relationships that didn't work, I'm gonna let those go too. I'm gonna keep learning and evolving and growing and having the aha moments. And then, you know, I'm gonna be that magician and transform away from this situation and be inspired and ignited with passion and sexual unbridled healing, and going back through my past lives and going back through my ancestral lineage and breaking out of the karmic, you know, mountainous of debt, and the boundaries and the barriers and the blocks and the things that have just been like icky, so that I can be victorious and magnetic and charged up to receive. So I see that you are dating somebody from your past, from high school, and you asked how I'm seeing the connection, and I did see the horse again with the magnetic. No, Mona, come on, don't do that. Don't stare at me right now. We're almost done. Go away. Go. No, stop. Go out of here. Go ahead. No, I'm not doing it right now, dude. Alright, so the wheel of karma, or wheel of fortune, the cycles, the forces of the universe, your destiny, the synchronicity, the luck of the draw, with your heart was underneath the bed, so I guess he would have served a purpose over there. It says love, romance, joy, bliss, heart's desire, content, affection, fulfillment, kindness, forgiveness. Okay, so I feel like this person is going to be like the key for you to have a solution, clarity, opening up and breaking up, the liberty to unlock this helpful solution, an intelligence within you from a heart-centered place to be like, oh my god, I'm finally lucky in love, or just to like see and know and like overcome like the stuff that didn't work out so well, or the beliefs, or the things that can be, you know, resonant or like left over when we do have stuff that didn't work out well, or the endings of circumstances that were like, oh, that kind of sucked. So it's like you're at that crossroads, and I feel like the person like coming back from high school area is like also going to help you to work on that inner child, but also gaining the wisdom and things that was necessary for you to become the empress and to heal as that divine feminine mother to your inner child. So it's like you're going to be mothering yourself, loving yourself, nurturing yourself, procreating an abundance of blessings and opportunities, and maybe even babies. But it's like it is sudden increase, and it's like you're going to be feeling sexier, and you're going to be stepping back into alignment with your power, your high priestess knowing, your wisdom, your insights, your intuition, and your chemistry, your sparks. You're like, yeah, feeling good, feeling sexy, and feeling empowered, rising out of the fucking dark, you know, bleh. And you could have the birth of a daughter with a vibrant, abundant, happy time. I feel like this person's going to help you to increase your abundance as well, because when you feel sexy and you feel loved and you feel nurtured and you feel empowered and like desired, and there's divine like purity within it, it's very easy to bring in abundance. It's very easy to find strength. It's very easy to take those leaps of faith and have those aha moments, especially if the person's in their power and they're not a control freak and they're not like hiding from you or lying to you, or it's not going to be just a messy situation that you need to clean up, or you're not going to end up in a stalemate situation. And even if those things do occur out of it, there's going to be the purpose that was served here, where it's like this is a catalyst to ignite some shit in there to get you to start feeling better, to lift up out of the shit show that was occurring. So it was like, somebody else's influence here. It's like a third party influence here to help to increase your ability to feel good and to give birth to that inner child coming out into your community, dating and having parties and crowds and public, places in society, coming back out into this world to find your true north and to have the metamorphosis that was necessary for you in order to get out of where you were or get out of where you are still. It's like seeing from the challenging the status quo, seeing from a new perspective, having a clear vision, not getting caught up with like the miscommunication and the bullshit out there, or becoming secretive or hoarding and all of that, anxious energy that comes about from people when they go into panic mode. I feel like this person's presence is going to help you from going there. It's going to help you to torch those flames and be like just pushing you back up in your power. So it's like you're going to become more reliable to get things done. You're going to have a lucky time. The divine intervention is here. The harmony, the gift, the beauty, the creative contentment, the warmth, the things that you needed all along that you weren't getting, but now are coming about out of like, hey, it's a fine wine. It's getting better with time. You're figuring these things out, and now you can go back and love the little girl inside in a way that like you probably needed all this time, but wasn't there. And this person that's come in, it's like a happy coincidence, a reward, good fortune, carefree, a fling, a flirt, and an unexpected rendezvous, which is going to serve in the way that it's meant to serve. And how it goes from there is kind of like up to you to decide. Yeah, it's like that's your choice where it goes. And you could commit to this person and spend, more time with this person. But I would make sure that they're coming from their heart and their soul, and that's where you really truly want to go, and all of that, and just seeing eye to eye. And it may not happen overnight, or it may have like its ups and its downs, whatever, but I do feel like there's a magnetic connection there. There's a love there. There's a deep bond, an uncommon bond, and there's a bridge, a way for you to have romance and for you to have good time, like enchanting, emotional, sensitivity, fluid, romantic, artistic, good time, justice for the shit show, justice for the times that weren't so good. And it's like your ambition will be increasing. You're going to be becoming established, developing achievement, a longevity, maturity, sexuality, good time. So this is a leap of faith time for you to take those times moving on, the not worrying, so your prosperity can be abundantly flowing, and you can realize how unique and precise and delicate everything is within you and around you, but also how unique and beautiful and powerful it is inside of you. And like when you honor that and you are aware of that and you speak that and you take that time out to be in the metamorphosis and to see the gratitude that you be grateful for everything that's happening, and be grateful for everything that did happen, because if it didn't happen, you didn't go through the obstacles, you wouldn't be who you are today. If you didn't have the shit shows, you wouldn't even know what a victory is, or like a good show. And just know that like your desires and your love and your heart and your soul and all the good things that you would like in this world can be there, and they can increase, and they will increase when you allow them to. So I do feel like this is a opportunity for your self-esteem, your pride, your ego to balance out, to be supported in a healthy way, and the collaboration, a humorous and fun time with joy and peace and harmony is here. And you can, get through anything that happens or comes up or pops up. And I feel like there could be miraculous healing and all of that too. Again, work on the inner child. Heal the wounds. Heal the beliefs. Know that everything around us is energy. It's not really physical. The fine wine energy of realizing that we are the creator. Whatever we speak, whatever we think, whatever we write over our life is what happens. So be very mindful of that. And just know, I can. If I feed my body the right thing, and I spend my time with the right people, and I believe the right beliefs, and I do the right thoughts and the right actions and all of that shit show, and I'm loved back in return, and I make sure of that by like getting rid of those that don't love me in return, I can be stable and enduring and solid and steady, and I can restrain, secure, persevere with my willpower and my advantage to do all of that and go into my success in all areas of my life. So yeah, the Wheel of Fortune is down here spinning in your favor. And the raccoon is here with the problem solving, curious, asking questions, adaptive, creative, entrepreneur, resourceful, clever. So basically, it's time for you to take the forces of the universe into your luck, into your destiny, into your synchronicity. Follow the signs and the synchronicities. Become that entrepreneur. Become that person that decides how you want to be in this world and where you want to be doing it. Communicate that out there, and you know, trust that the universe is serving and has your back. And like every night before you go to bed, like think about what it is that you want to change, and thank the universe like in advance. Be like, I'm so grateful that like all these blessings are coming to me. I'm so grateful for my community. I'm so grateful that people understand me and are helping me to find my way on my purpose and my passion in my life. I'm so grateful that I have the right people supporting me and loving me that are divine counterparts. So grateful that my divine masculine is helping me to move forward in an amazing opportunity to be happy and loved and supported. And I'm so grateful that I have no more storms in my life, and I had the death and the transformation and the uplifting of my self and my soul and my little girl inside of me. And now I can have a true divine masculine show up for me because I'm willing and open and able to see him and know him and metamorphosize beside him on my true path of purpose and clarity and decision making and doing what needs to be done to become my best self. I'm confident and purpose driven, and I'm getting it done. And you know, I'm gonna find the right dude, the man of interest, that is going to be supportive of these things with me, and is you know, right there alongside me, adapting, creative, inspirational. A comforting presence is on the way. Another one of those like unicorn peepos. And again, like that's like Andromedan energy. Speak your truth and express yourself. So put your truth out there. Speak what you've got to say. You could have Andromedan energy that you want to look into. I have on the Divine Essentials channel like a characteristics series about different star beings, and the Andromedan is one that's up there. And then Divine Union is here. So again, the Divine Union seems like this is a sacred gift that's coming for you, you know? So just believe in it, trust in it, reflect and release, and believe in the spontaneous healing that can come to you. And be open to those crazy communications from spirit and like the divine and like the weird stuff that's out there for us to connect with. Don't be a victim of the circumstances that have already happened. Expand your horizons and be firm. Commit to yourself so that others can commit to you. Take a stand in your life. Go forward and leave the past behind and see the gratitude. Be grateful for everything that's happened. Create the pathway. There's that Cygnus up there. Create the pathway for the blessings and the opportunities that you're committed to and the evolution of yourself. Don't take anything for granted. Rise to this occasion because it's time for you to find those sacred gifts in this world and in this life and in your experience here. I don't know what the fuck that was. It was like something big went over the house, but the dog snored at the same time, and it was like, wow. Yeah, create the pathway, crown yourself, time to go. Feel good about it, and remember to ask the right questions. So like when you start to get confused or lost along the way, ask spirit to help you, because sometimes we get so we like, oh, obviously spirit would know that I'm hating my life, or this is not a good time, or like I want help with the situation, but they may not know unless, or they can't help until we're like, hey, help me, because we have free will. And the divine beings will not infringe upon free will. So like Archangel Michael will want to cut your cords, and you may be thinking you'd like to cut your cords, but until you're like, yeah, Archangel Michael, cut my cords, he can't do it, because you have to say it. You have to put it out there. Same with anything. It's like, hey, I really need money, or hey, I really need support, or hey, I'd really like to know about boo. You've got to be clear in your words and your wording of it, so that you can be that empress in your power and have your ultimate fulfillment in this life, and rise through the bullshit with support of the universe, because they will bring you the strength that you need to get to your 10 of Cups, your happily ever afters, and your Ace of Pentacles new beginnings will show up easily. They'll be like, wow, look at all these awesome opportunities showing up for me when we ask for them. or when we put it out there, or we believe that it can even happen, because it's like useless to be asking but not believing that it can happen. It's like, if you don't believe in a miracle, then don't be asking for miracles. If you don't believe in like being a star, then rising into the power, or into that position that is the most, great, it's not cold and out and alone, then, you gotta believe first. So it's like, where do I believe? What do I believe? If I don't believe that I'm worthy of, or good enough, or blah-blah-blah, we find the strength to make the new judgment calls so that I can reconcile with that part of me that's thinking those things, cut the beliefs out that are not serving, so I don't have to have unnecessary burden, and I can be happy and healed and harmonious. Oh my God. And feeling wonderful about it. So yeah, balancing out, healing up, doing the work that's needed to be done, making the decisions to change the things that aren't serving you, and overcoming the fears, overcoming the pain, overcoming any of that isolation or that sadness or the fears or the doubts, like about abundance, overcoming the fears and the pains and the darkness of the times that we've had painful endings, and opening up to receive the romance and the love that wants to come in, without the fear of rejection or the fear of, oh, this is just going to hurt me or be bad for me. Because if we do that and respect that, we create that, or we block the good from manifesting. So sometimes somebody might want to give you love, but your fear of them hurting you, or your fear of them not doing that, or your fear of whatever can cause that to not be the case. So they can sit there and look at you and want to love you, maybe want to give you a gift, maybe they are sorry, but you could be creating, chaos in your own life, or creating towers of the opportunities, based out of just fears and doubts and insecurities and things like that. So just make sure you believe that an emperor can show up in his power, that's not going to mess with your time and your energy, that you've waited long enough for that, and you can move forward quickly to your Ten of Cups, and that you have the strength inside of you to do it right now, today. You don't have to be putting it off for any time later, and that your ultimate fulfillment and your good times can be coming. So you're emotionally like, yes, this is such a wonderful thing. So I would work with like affirmations and beliefs, like you can play certain like things while you're sleeping, or do meditations to figure out what you are believing and what you need to rewrite about those beliefs, and then replace them, like I am valuable, I am worthy, I am like good enough, or whatever it is. Like sometimes we feel like we're alone. It's like, you're not alone in the universe. Fulfilling opportunities are right on the horizon. Call in that protection. Don't sit there feeling miserable. Crown yourself as a divine, lovely person that's worth all of that work, and don't be the victim, so that your divine union and that comforting presence can be calm, anchored in the present moment with you, and your goal is within reach. Okay? And that's the same for everybody out there. Just be firm, committed, and knowing that you can have whatever you want with whoever you want. Well, it should be like, I'm going to protect myself. So it's like, obviously I don't want a divine union with a person that's not going to be a divine union type of person, right? I don't want to keep going into shit show. I think outside of the box here, I think outside of the flock. I'm going to open the portal to take a stand and to create my sacred gifts coming to me, which might be looking different or being different than what I originally thought or expected or maybe wanted it to be. But I got to let go of the bitter revenge and the crazy like stuff within me that gets all jealous and hell-bent on something that's probably not going to work out. Reflect and release on those things. Know that I'm not alone in the universe, and know that I can have a divine union, but I've got to act from my crown and my heart, like my brain and my heart. It's like sometimes we let our heart run the show, and that gets us in trouble, and sometimes we don't let our heart into the masquerade, and that gets us into trouble. So remove the mask of the everyday persona, and be true to yourselves. Be true to your real self within yourself. Believe in the spontaneous healing. Don't go into bitter revenge and craziness. Just speak the real truth. The obstacles are being removed. When we rise to the occasion, we take the stand, and we maintain our compassion under the pressure of the craziness here, calling in our protection and our divine support, so that the fulfilling moments in the horizons can come, and we hold within our heart the space to be filled for the illumination, the crowning of the divinity, and the alignment with our union that we have risen to. In Renee, namaste.